Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Pradeep from Armwrestling News, and today we have a rising arm wrestling star who just created an uproar at the East versus West stage. Our guest, Adam Wawrzynski. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I watched a couple of matches of you before this as well, but I would still like to ask you one question. Where were you? Like, why were you not famous at the international stage before this? Like, it isn't like you got that much better just like a couple of months ago. You must have been at that level almost for almost a year or maybe even more than that. Where were you?
Well, that was really my first opportunity to get kind of on the international stage. And honestly, to be honest with you, I didn't really know what level I was on. I mean, I had been tested against some great, fantastic opponents, but like Travis Bajan said it best, I'm good, but am I European good? And with me not have ever having been over there or tested myself against an opponent of that nature, I really didn't know where I would stand. And I mean, Bozhidar he's a beast, absolute beast. 5 time, I thought he's a 4-time world champion. I was wrong. 5-time world champion. And then I heard Coach Ray say after I went back and rewatched the match on the commentary, I think he said 6. So, I mean, what an absolute animal, what a fierce competitor. And I'm just very thankful for the opportunity and him stepping up to the match with me being heavier. I mean, we agreed at 93 kilos as a weight limit. I ended up weighing in at 91.
Okay.
I'm not sure what he weighed in at, but there was a significant weight difference. So that definitely made a difference for sure. But I know he doesn't struggle with bigger opponents. He seems to just go through everybody he grips up with. But yeah, to be
So
honest with you, yeah.
your
So
your weight was 91 during the weigh-in. So how much exactly did you weigh when you actually competed on the table? Did you gain like 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds water weight?
yeah, I would estimate around 95 kg
Okay, right.
before the match, maybe a little shy.
Mm. So overall, it was less than 10 kg difference, we would say. And according to weight cap,
Yes,
93,
yes,
93 was the weight cap, right?
yes. I'm pretty sure he was 85 kg,
85, yeah.
right? 5. And right before the match, I was, like I said, I was probably a little 94 and a half, 95.
Yeah. So one more question before we get to start about how you began in arm wrestling. Did you ever compare any like common opponents? Maybe have you ever arm wrestled with Tony Kitowski? Because Bozhidar beat him quite easily at East
Yeah.
versus West first event or second event.
Yeah. Of course, I watched that match of him and Tony. And that was really the only American link I had, direct link, but I've never arm wrestled Tony. I've never gripped up with him. I live on the East Coast of the US, and I'm pretty sure Tony is out west. And we've never meet up. There was one tournament, and I forget when it was. May have been a year ago, a little over, that I was supposed to go to that he was at, but I never ended up going. So no, I've never gripped up with him. So I wasn't really able to draw much of a conclusion from that.
All right. Let's address some of the chat very quickly. Levan Sagnashvili's kidney saying, "You're a beast. Glad he was able to win easily to claim this place. He needs to come to every East versus West." The Mana Lord is saying. And Chafee and Todd, okay, he's like a beast from X-Men. Bojidar, SG Records, Roman, you must have met him there. He's saying that Bojidar told him that Adam is too strong. We kind of got to know that from the video itself. Adam, you were so impressive. Was one of the best matches to watch. Looking forward to see you pull again. Spermis S. Karimi saying. Okay. Somebody saying that your performance was best. Harvey Weinstein is saying your performance was best, second to the GOAT only. So, like, is it the first time you're getting this kind of love, or is it something that you're used to in United
Wow.
States?
Yeah. I mean, I'm used to of course, anytime you get a big win, no matter where you are, you get a lot of great support from the arm wrestling community. But with this being the type of win it is against who it is on the stage that we were at, I've been getting so much support and encouragement from everybody, and I can't thank the arm wrestling community enough, and everyone who supported me to get out here. It's just been great love, a lot of encouragement, and positive vibes. So yeah, it's been great the past couple of days.
And as I asked at the beginning, where have you been before this? Because you clearly deserve all of that and maybe deserve it before as well. Do you know Reno Masic from Croatia?
I'm not familiar. No.
Okay, he's in the chat. He won the juniors under 22, I think it was, or 23, whatever it was. He's like 18 years old, and he beat the Bulgarian champion Krasimir Kostadinov on the left arm in the senior division while being 18 years old. Like, he won the seniors division as well, and he didn't compete on the right. He would have probably beaten him on the right arm as well. So Reno is also in the chat. I did an interview with him as well. Probably the biggest, youngest upcoming talent in the world. Like, goes through everyone in the seniors division while being 18 years old, 100 kg men's class. So he's saying that very strong and impressive. I wonder who he would like to pull next.
Who I would like to pull next. I've been getting that question a lot recently. I really don't have a specific opponent. I've never been a guy to chase down people. I believe that if you just work hard and go to tournaments and continue to compete, that the matches will kind of fall in place. There's enough promotions around the world, locally, globally, that want to see these big matches and want to see who's the best in every weight category. So if you just keep competing and you keep getting your name out there, then somebody's going to set up the match. Mm-hmm. I really don't have a specific opponent in mind. There's only a couple of gentlemen in the US that are ranked above me at my weight. So maybe someday it would be nice to see one of those, but that's not to say that there's 3 times that many guys below me in those rankings that could put up a good match.
Yeah.
Rankings are a good match, I should say, that are just as good. I mean, rankings are just really, truthfully, somebody's opinions. Yeah. From super matches, I mean, of course, super matches and tournament results drive those rankings, but that's just on that day. In a couple months, somebody else might be right there with it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So three things that I would like to clear from you, from what you just mentioned. First one is about the opponents. I'll mention some opponents since you don't like to chase people down. And second one was about rankings, I think. And third one was about getting these opportunities. So first one is, let's first talk about the opportunities. Do you think social media also has a part to play in it? Are you active on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, anywhere?
I do believe social media has a part to play with it. The squeaky wheel always gets the grease. But with that being said, I'm not really active on social media. I have always had Facebook, Instagram. I had a TikTok for a little bit. I tried to put some content out there, but I actually recently got rid of a lot of my social media. I still have Facebook, mm-hmm. but I don't really have anything on my phone. It's more on my computer. So I'm an example of somebody who got the opportunity without
social media,
the real push on social media. Of course, I'm on it and I can communicate with people through those platforms, but I'm not a guy who's got a YouTube channel that pushes out a lot of content and tries to get the attention. I'm more the type of person to do the talking on the table and let your success in arm wrestling do the talking for you. And like I said, if you're good enough, you're going to get the opportunity, you're going to get the match. Yeah. But there's a lot of people who have had success using social media. So there's 2 ways to do it.
True is. And a big thanks goes to Engin Terzi as well. King of the Table have also started doing that a little bit, but Engin is the one, he's the primary example who just believes in talent, and he does not require you to have a big social media presence or a big online name to get yourself on his card. So, and about the second question, you mentioned something about not aiming for anyone. Let me give you some names. First name that came to my mind was Sasha Andreev. He's a little bit bigger than Bozhidar, little bit better than Bozhidar, and he's like much more accomplished, like probably 3 4 times much more accomplished than Bozhidar. Like, how do you think you would fare up against him? He's also less than 90 kilos, by the way, about 82, 88, 89. That's his walk around weight.
You said 88, 89 kg?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Okay.
always competes in 90 kg, and he usually wins his class.
Right. Yeah.
Left and right.
Sasha,
Yeah.
Sasha is somebody who I've heard of and have known over in the European side of the world. The last match I think I saw him compete in was against Rob Vidgen Jr., and that was a little while ago. I'm sure
Yeah.
he's pulled some big tournaments and
Yeah,
some events.
he won WAF left and right a couple of months ago. Like, didn't even feel anyone.
Oh, he was yeah.
Yeah.
So again, that's a Sasha is always somebody who I never really ever compared myself to. I just always thought that I wasn't there yet. But I would, of course, I would love to pull him if I had the opportunity to. I believe that I would need a lot of work to prepare for that match, similar to what I needed preparing for this upcoming match I just had, because I just feel like that's a whole different animal. It may not be, I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just because I went over there and beat Bozhidar does not mean that I could compete with Sasha. I just, that still doesn't give me a lot of links, if that makes sense. I don't know how Bozhidar would do against Sasha. I don't know how, I mean, I really do feel like the weight difference in my match with Bozhidar was a big difference. So you get somebody now that's around that same weight, and that could totally put a 180 on things.
Yeah.
But of course, I would love to have the opportunity to pull him or anyone else of that level.
Yeah.
How could you not? I mean, everybody dreams to have the opportunity to pull someone of that caliber. So yeah, I would love to test. Sure.
And the second name is David Samushia. I was just talking with Paul Lynn, and Paul suggested that name, that he would like you to pull David Samushia. Paul actually did beat David, I think at East versus West 3 it was, and it was a war, 3-2 all out. So how do you think you will do against someone who gave Paul a really tough fight?
Yeah, I mean, Paul, I know how strong Paul Lynn is, and to see how he and David went back and forth, that's real impressive. And I mean, David also pulled Bozhidar not too long ago.
Yeah, he beat him.
Yeah, and he did beat him, but it was
But your win was more impressive. It looked more easy.
I would love to pull David. I got to meet him at this, East versus West 5. He was there pulling Daniel, and super nice guy. Again, I think he's a little lighter. Is he about 85 kg? 80?
Yeah, 85 kg.
85 kg. Okay, so yeah, I don't know what the weight would be there, because 85 kg isn't a weight that I'm interested in dropping down to. I would certainly meet at 90. That's about as low as I would go. So if the match makes sense for him and he's okay with 90 kg and Engin wants to set it up, of course, I would love to take the match. I'll let the promote whatever the people want to see and what makes the most sense. It's going to happen, right?
Yep.
So of course, David is, that would be an honor to pull him.
Yeah, 116 people already watching, and I hope Engin is also watching. If he's not, I'll send him this clip. And Shane Owens Arm Wrestling with a $10 super chat. Thank you very much, brother. Adam drives 6 hours every Sunday just to practice. He trains like an animal every day. Make no mistake, he earned this victory through extreme dedication and work ethic. The sky is his limit.
Yeah, Shane is, I mean, one of those practice partners for me. I'm fortunate to train with one of the best teams in the country, and not only just because of the talent, but because of the brotherhood we have together and our commitment towards each other. I mean, the term iron sharpens iron defines our team, Carolina Chaos, perfectly. And let me tell you, Shane Owens is a big, big reason on why I did what I did at East versus West 5. I mean, you talk about a guy with pure horsepower. I mean, there's a lot of guys in the U.S. that deserve shots out there. And like you were saying, where was I before? There, for every one of me, there's 3 more guys at Carolina Chaos that could do similar, if not more, damage to their respective opponents at the international stage.
And the third point that I wanted to get across a few moments ago is that you mentioned there are couple of guys above you. Like, who exactly can beat you in USA at your weight? To me, it seems almost impossible. Like, who is above you in the rankings?
I mean, believe it or not, there's a couple above me in the rankings. You got Craig Tullier. Now he's above me in the 90 kilo rankings.
Okay.
95 kilo rankings. He's on the weight class below. I think it might be 85 kg. I think it falls at 190 pounds. And then you got Daniel Mosier. Now, Daniel Mosier just had a surgery on his wrist, and I believe he's having a good recovery. So I don't know when we're going to see him back in action. Craig is someone who I've never pulled before, so I don't know how I would stack up against him. I have experience with Daniel Mosier 2 years ago in 2020, and he smashed me. I mean, not even close. Like, it was in a tournament. It wasn't a super match, but he took me straight to the bad flash pin. So I don't know.
How old are you? You're 26, right?
25.
25. So if you're 25 when you're 23, so how long have you been training? Like, let's get to the basic questions first. Usually I ask them in the beginning, but it according to the flow of the conversation, now I'm getting the chance to ask the questions. When exactly and why exactly did you start arm wrestling? And what was your background before that?
Yeah, so we'll just jump back to December of 2014. I was in high school. American football was my number one priority as far as sports. I was finishing up with my senior season. I wasn't sure if I was going to play at the next level in college, and I was kind of looking for something. My mind was just out there, and Game of Arms was on TV at AMC. I don't know if you remember that show.
Yeah, I do.
And yeah, that's kind of what got me interested in arm wrestling. And I found a couple competitions. They were actually, WAL was doing the tournament style at the time, and that's what got me into it. And then, that's when I started, January of 2015. But I did end up going to play college ball. So for the next 4 years, I trained arm wrestling, but I wasn't really practicing much. I was maybe hitting a tournament a year. 2018, November of 2018 is when I started seriously.
So you started 4 years ago and now you're 25. So I don't think you should even think about your matches from 2020. Like, your gain, like, it's still by 2020, you may still be getting kind of newbie gains back then because you were very young and only 2 years into the sports. Just look at Chan Shaw. Chan Shaw got beat by Ryan Bowen in 2020. And look at where he is right now. I don't think that is a close match. And talking about Ryan Bowen, there were some comments in the comment section about you versus Ryan Bowen. How do you think that match will go? Ryan at 105 kilos and you at your natural weight.
I have no idea. I will say this: Ryan Bowen looked a lot bigger in person than I had ever. That was my first time meeting him, and his right arm was absolutely enormous. I mean, it kind of looked intimidating. And I thought, looking at the size of him, but okay, before meeting him, I did not think it would be close. I thought Zurab would just run through him. And he kind of did, but Ryan, I feel like still showed some ability to, I don't think he's too far from being able to compete with someone like Zurab. But anyway, yeah, after meeting him and seeing the size of his arm, I said, you know what, he might beat Zurab. If he takes his hand and he stays in a good spot, he may do it, but I don't know how I would face up against Ryan Bowen.
Mhm.
I mean, he's got.
Okay. Okay. Speaking of massive right arms, I was watching your match, and I was actually doing live commentary. And after that match, of course, your right arm was pumped, but it was looking like twice the size of your left arm. So I was kind of confused. Like, is that just because of the pump, or do you
Uh,
actually have a giant, massive right pumpkin arm?
Bigger hand. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
A-
I was.
And is there a difference in size of forearm, bicep, wrist, and everything?
Yeah, I mean, my forearm is like at least a good inch and a quarter, inch and a half larger on the right arm. My hand is much bigger. That's something I noticed well before arm wrestling. I was probably 10 or 11 years old. And yeah, my bicep is not quite as much bigger than my left as the forearms are, maybe a half inch,
Yeah.
3/4 inch. So it's in the hands, it's way different. In the forearms, it's still very different.
Yeah.
And then in the bicep, kind of tapers down as it goes up into the shoulder and the chest.
So what do you think? Is the left like shorter or smaller, or is it just the right that is abnormally large? Because you look like absolutely massive human being. When Bozhidar was trying to grip up in a hook, it was like almost impossible. You looked like a mini Denis Siplenkov. Your hand just looked really really thick and massive in that match, and I was like, how do you even grip with this guy?
Uh yeah, I don't think my left is small. I just think my right is
Bigger,
mutant. I
yeah.
mean, it even scares me when I, look at it after a session of rice buckets or doing wrist curls. I'm like, this thing just doesn't stop growing. But hey, works out for arm wrestling, right?
That's great. That's actually great. So there was a super chat from Darko, 50 Swedish krona. Thank you very much, brother. Did you feel disrespected by Boji for going to Dubai a week before the match? Was that an extra motivation? I don't think that was a week before the match. I think the Dubai tournament was on 28th of October, if I'm correct. So
Yep.
not it is not a week before the match, but about 3 weeks.
Um, yes, I felt okay. I did not feel personally disrespected because let me say this first. Bozhidar is a class act of a human being, just a great guy to talk to and to meet. So no disrespect towards him, and everybody's got their different viewpoints.
Yep.
But for me, like when I got the call for East versus West back in August, I I shut down my schedule from then until the event to train for that because that was the level of respect I had for Engin, Bozhidar, and myself. And to see that Bozhidar went to a like I understood when he went to Worlds because for him that wasn't a lot of travel. It's Worlds. He gets compensated for that. I can understand that, but to fly out to Dubai a couple weeks before the match, within 3 weeks, I'm just thinking to myself, what are you doing? Because it was funny because I got a message from Adam Silver for that Dubai tournament. Said, "Hey, we'd love to have you." And I told him, I said, "Look, I would, but I got this big East versus West match coming up." And then Bozhidar goes over there, and I'm like, well, I kind of feel a little bit not disrespected, but maybe he wasn't taking me as serious.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that wasn't the case at all. And well, that wasn't the case, but that's kind of how it came across. So before the match, I did feel a little bit disrespected. Yeah.
Jesse B is saying the more you listen to him, the more you like this guy. Ryan Bowen, take notice. Okay, so you go into the match. You look absolutely focused, really, really confident. Round one, Bojida tries to top roll. You just curl him in. You just curl him in. That was really, really impressive. And when I saw your match against Brent Rockers, even then I was talking with Engin about it, I think, or with someone else. And I was like, I've never seen such a beautiful and good control in the cupping ability as you. It looked awesome. Same thing with Bojidar. He cannot top roll. So Adam goes back to his corner and like, I want you to try harder. I want you to try harder next time. Hit harder. Like after that, you beat him. You look at the crowd. is this your best European guy? Come on, is this your world champion? And I was absolutely loving that trash talk. I absolutely enjoyed it. I was like, that's awesome. That's awesome. He's the guy. He's going to be invited more and more to these events. But I was talking with Paul, and he told me that you felt kind of bad about it, and about the interview as well. I don't know what exactly it was, and you posted an apology. I just read it 5 minutes before going live. I still do not understand what was that for. Like, I personally speaking, I did not like that at all. I do not think that was necessary at all. Like, why did you post that apology?
Well, I mean, not so much the trash talk during the match. And don't get me wrong, there were a lot of emotions going out. I really, truly am passionate about this sport and competing in general. And to, you know, so that kind of, that kind of played a part in everything that was said. Where I was truly unsatisfied with myself is after I won the match and Artem Taranenko was interviewing me. I came off as very cocky and did not show a lot of class. And that's something I'm ashamed of myself for. I always preach, to be respectful, to be a good sportsman, and to show class. And to be a professional, because if this sport's going to be professional, then I believe we need to treat it as such. And I do not believe that I was a good representation of either of those. Again, that's subject to opinion. A lot of people like you didn't really understand it.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I get it. I don't think it was necessarily bad, but it certainly wasn't good. And it was out of character for me. So I felt the need to apologize to the people who were offended, and mainly to Engin and Bozhidar. I should have really been more grateful for the opportunity and thanked Engin and Bozhidar for taking the match, like I said, at almost 2 weight categories up. Well, really 1, but more 2. So I didn't like the way I presented myself.
Yeah. But I like, for me, it was absolutely awesome. I really absolutely enjoyed everything you did there. And it is not at that level, but those kind of reactions when you said that there's nothing to say about like the level or something like that, just rewind the footage and you'll see. This is something what you said. And it reminded me, when you now talk about it, it reminded me of Brock Lesnar's post-fight interview at UFC, where he was saying like, can you see me now? Can you see me now? Like, it can get some hate, but these are the awesome moments. Like, do you just type, can you see me now, and Brock Lesnar pops up on YouTube? I absolutely love these aggressive post-match interviews. Till the time you arrive on that stage, until the time you leave it, I think you have absolutely every right in this world to be aggressive and slightly disrespectful as well, if you like to be that way. I don't think there was anything wrong with that, but personal feelings. Okay, so Wadi is saying with the €5 super chat, definitely putting my money on Adam for his next matches. Great performance. Maybe start a YouTube channel, and cheers from France.
Thanks for that super chat. I might start a YouTube. Social media and me, those 2 things just don't really mix well. Number 1, I'm really not that good at it. Number 2, I really don't have the time for it. And number 3, social media is just not something I'm a fan of in general.
Yeah.
But hey, feel free to make one for me, and all the matches that get thrown out there of me, compile them and put them out there. I mean, guys like John Berzink, Dennis Zaplankov, Dave Chafee, they don't have social media, but they're all over the internet. So you are more than welcome to make videos or do whatever. But for me personally, you probably won't see one anytime soon.
Yeah. And what is your job? You mentioned that you do not have enough time. Like, what is your day from the time you wake up till you go to bed?
Yeah, so I work as an engineer here in the U.S. and it's a pretty busy day. I wake up pretty early, and I start my morning off with just some personal things, and then I go to work, and I'm at work until it depends on the day, anywhere from 3 to 5 o'clock, and then I'm actually taking a college course, hands-on machining at night right now. So training either happens really early in the morning or before all that, or late in the evening. Of course, I say late in the evening. I haven't done an evening session in months. So it's usually really early in the morning, like 4 or 5 o'clock. And then I'm busy until I get home at 9:30 at night, 10 o'clock. So it's a pretty busy day, and to fit a social media channel in there, it's just hard for me. And it's not a priority. So
Understandable. And I feel like I'm conducting this interview like backwards in reverse mode. About your name, Adam Warzone Wawrzynski. Where does Warzone come from, and where does Wawrzynski come from? Because clearly not an American name. Sounds like a European name.
yeah, so Wawrzynski is a Polish name, and it comes from my dad, but he's not that much Polish. His father was half Polish, and his grandfather was Polish. So that's kind of where the name comes down from. And Warzone, actually, that's not a self-given nickname. I was at a tournament one time, and I'm going to give a shout out here to Anthony Paul Laterio, Powerhouse Arm Wrestling Federation. I was at one of his events, and he was announcing me to go up on stage, and just looked at my last name and said, Adam Warzone. It just kind of came
Yeah.
out. Couldn't pronounce it.
I always have a laugh at it because this is one thing that North Americans are like absolutely terrible at pronouncing European names. Like they just cannot. The
Can't
only
do it.
English speaking arm wrestlers, only two famous, are Neil Pickup and Ryan Bone, and those two are not from North America. They only can pronounce European names, and
Right.
North Americans are worse at it.
But hey, the Warzone, and from then on, it just kind of stuck. And honestly, I didn't really adopt it at first. Like I thought it was cool, but then no matter what I did, I couldn't escape from it. And then I kind of like it. I was like, Warzone, that's about right. So
Yeah. And do you know that first of all, your grandfather lived in Poland or great grandfather?
I don't know if he lived in Poland. I just know that he was Polish.
Okay, all right. Do you know that John Brzezinski is also Polish?
Mhm. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think his grandfather moved to US or great grandfather moved to US, and John's mother is German, I think.
Yeah, I think he said something at the event. I don't know. There was a connection drawn there, but I did know that.
Yeah. And there were a few questions about your training. Like, how do we, other than genetics, what can we do to build arms and strength like Adam Warzone? Like, what do you do in your training?
Oh man, this okay. This might be contrary to what a lot of the greats say out there, because I feel like arm wrestling training so convoluted with, get a martial arts belt and you're doing those little movements and the wrist and the thing. And listen, all that stuff is great and fantastic. But at the end of the day, if you're not doing compound movements in the gym and things that work, I'm just going to say compound movements. You could take it for what you want, then you're not getting stronger. Look at some of the most professional, look at professional athletes out there, football players, basketball, baseball, soccer, anything. When they're training in the gym, they're not trying to mimic the movements they see on the field.
Yeah.
They're just trying to get stronger. And then they go to practice to practice and get better at that sport. So I think as far as training goes, number one, getting with a good team and practicing is the most important thing. Practices are most important by far. And then if you're going to train in the gym, just train to get strong. I think things like pull-ups, climbing rope, if you are a hook arm wrestler, then you need to be climbing rope, because when you go to climb a rope and you grab it and you pull like this, that's a hook, is it not?
Yeah.
I mean, grabbing it and then supinating to your chest, that is literally the definition of a hook. You need to be doing that. And I mean, push-ups, I think bench press is good if it's not too hard on the shoulders, working your rear delts, core. A lot of people don't understand. I mean, just about everybody, when they set up on the table, has some sort of rotation. Your hips are angled one way and your shoulders are back square, and your goal is to be back this way off the ready go. So you need to be working your core. And the most important thing is I just mentioned all those different muscle groups you have to work. Well, at the end of the day, they got to work together.
Yeah.
And then having an iron hand is, the hand and wrist is obviously the most important thing. So finding a way to incorporate your hand and wrist within those compound movements is the key to tying it all together.
Yeah. For weight classes, it may make some sense that why arm wrestlers wouldn't do compound movements, because they would like all of that mass to be in their in their right arm. But I always wonder, like, why aren't the super heavyweights training the compound movements? Like, if Devon is training for Levan, I know he has limited time to train, or maybe he has all the time to train because he's a full-time arm wrestler. I always wondered, like, what is the harm in doing some bench press or some shoulder presses or some deadlifts even? But even the super heavyweights don't like to do those movements, and that is beyond my understanding why they don't do that. And Sarah Latona is in the chat. She mentioned, let me get back. Thank you, Adam. People in arm wrestling do not know how to train as an athlete. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, it's and some of those bigger heavyweights like Devon, of course, everybody's different. And what I'm saying now may not work for some people.
Yeah.
Devon has an accredited training style and program. And you have to realize Devon hasn't trained the same in the how many years he's been in arm wrestling. He's adapted his training to fit him at the age he's at. And I'm not saying his training's wrong. I'm just saying, if you're somebody who's just getting into the sport and you really don't have a strength background, I would get a strength background before you start focusing on those little teeny bitty, like, back pressure, side pressure. Before you start training side pressure on a table with a cable machine or bands or anything, you ought to just be doing push-ups and pull-ups and getting a basis of strength before you start getting into stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Again, personal opinion, it's not been studied, it's not accredited, so
yeah,
take it. Well.
So Adam, you told me that you only have about 30 minutes. We've been going on for 35 minutes. Do you have a few more minutes to go? Because remember, before answering, there are over 200 people watching us right now. Like,
I do have a couple more minutes. I will warn you though, the battery is pretty low and I don't have a charger at my desk here. So
all right. Just one final discussion coming back to your match against Bozhidar. So did you consider yourself, or maybe did you consider Bozhidar as an underdog against you? Like, what was your mindset going into that match? How confident? Like, every arm wrestler has to say to the promoter, to the fans, that yeah, I think I'm going to win this match. But I don't believe this is always the right case. What exactly was going through your mind before that match?
From an unbiased standpoint, not trying to look at this match from not in my point of view. Yeah, I didn't think I was able to. When I accepted the match, I'm like, I have to bring out a different version of me. I have to get stronger. I have to get better, because I didn't think I was on that level. And then especially 2 days before, when we were signing T-shirts and posters, and Neil Pickup mentioned to my coach, Chad Silver, said, this guy would give a prime Rustam Babayev a good match. He may not win, but it would be close. And that was kind of the connection he was helping us draw. And then he was saying what he was doing with Todd Hutchins on the after table at, I think, East versus West 4. And I was just thinking to myself, oh my gosh, the power on this man must just be ridiculous, because again, you don't really see it in his physique, and his physique's not bad. Everybody's saying how he's not. I mean, how many arm wrestlers do we know that are great? That you don't have to look like a bodybuilder to be a great arm wrestler. And to be honest with you, when you're somebody who doesn't carry that big traditional athletic physique and you're doing what Bozhidar is doing, that means you're doing something. That's even more impressive.
Mm-hmm. So going into that match, when exactly did you realize that you got this match? Was it during the first round when you went into a hook, or when you curled him in, when he tried to top roll? When exactly did you know that?
Yeah, when he went to top roll me and it didn't work, I was like, man, that was a very satisfying moment for me. I felt in control. And then when they reset us and we went inside and he was bottoming out on his surges and he couldn't get me anywhere, I felt very confident. Now, I will say this, a lot of people thought I was just toying with him and I could have pinned him at any time. That wasn't the case.
Yeah.
I mean, I was holding him, and don't get me wrong, I was comfortable in a defensive spot, but I don't know if you remember round one, there was a time when I hit hard. I
And
went,
yeah, he didn't move.
didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm thinking, look, if I'm comfortable playing defense, then I'm just going to play defense, because I might gas myself out trying to move him somewhere when he's not going to move. So that was, I felt very comfortable in the defensive position. My goal was just to kind of work into his hand a little bit and try to gas him that way. And I think for the most part, it pretty much worked. Plan executed.
Yeah. And Adam, just keep flipping the switch, bro. You are a different person on the table. Everyone has a lot of respect for you. People are saying his right arm is massive. All strengths matter. Rack pulls are great. Okay. He said Chad Silvers and John Brzezinski have the best champs. Okay, he's just not into social. So thank you very much, brother, for your time. It was really, really, like, I really appreciate your time. Like, for me, it is, I don't know, is it luck, or all arm wrestlers are just that much good or great person? Because whenever I ask anyone, they always say yes to an interview. Like, immediately I asked you probably 5-6 hours ago, and you said yes. When is the time that you want? So thank you very much for that. And it was an amazing interview.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, and thanks for everybody watching. I really appreciate it. I hope bigger and better future things can come out for me, and I can continue to put out great matches.
Yeah. And I would advise you, since you do not have your own social media, I would advise you to keep going on these interviews, maybe with Engin, Neil Pickup, and Aussie Arm Wrestler, other interviews. And it is just the volume of your presence. Like, no eyes can escape Adam after that, because you're everywhere. And eventually, hopefully, you'll get to back. And for sure, you're going to go back to East versus West, maybe King of the Table as well, and other organizations as well.
Yeah. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks. Paul Barrett with a $2 super chat. Great job, Adam. Much respect.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Take it easy.
Yeah, I'd like to read the chat. Cool guy. Okay, let me just read the chat a little bit and then I'll sign off. Thank you very much. 200 people watching. Really, really appreciate, man. I did not expect 200 people to be watching. Maybe it is because of the thumbnail. Maybe I clickbaited you to join, but I hope it was okay. Darko was saying Adam is very likable and humble. Great addition to the arm wrestling community. Man, the way this guy ran a masterclass on Bozhidar, he was waiting. He did not make any mistake. He was waiting for him to make a mistake. He arm wrestled like a veteran in the sport. Just absolutely mesmerizing. Like, the class with which he was arm wrestling, the beauty of his movement, it was absolutely amazing. I was like, I need to be the first guy to get Adam on an interview. It was amazing. What kind of engineering? Sorry, brother, I was not able to ask this question. Wasim bhai, thank you super chat ke liye. Fix is on in 2 hours. Okay, great job, Pradeep. Adam is my new favorite arm wrestler. Paul Barrett, thank you, brother. How are you, Pradeep? Classical YouTuber. I'm amazing, as you can see. YouTube has been killing it. Like, I'm killing it on YouTube for last almost couple of weeks, 3 weeks. It is because Adam dominated. Okay, Bozhidar rematch. I don't think that rematch makes sense right now. Like, there looked like at least 5-10% gap between these two. I had only seen Adam pull previously on Arm Wrestling TV channel. Yeah, it was same for me as well when he ran a similar class on Brent Rockers. Like, everyone was saying Brent Rockers is going to win, and Adam just curled him in and put him down. That was amazing. How do you support Hermes versus Levan? I'm hoping Hermes is able to do what Vitali was able to do to Levan in first round. Give him a good fight for 10 seconds. This is all I am hoping for, and I don't think it is impossible. Maybe Hermes can do that for a few seconds, but I don't think it is going to be more than that. Who do you support? Hermes versus Levan. Okay, of course, support. Hermes is the man. But for some reason, I always support for the favorite to win, the defending champion, Hermes Gasparini. I would favor him, support him against everyone, like I did with Dave Chaffee. But I always support the defending champion, or whoever I think is going to win the super match, whoever I think is the favorite winning this match. Bozhidar 85 and Wawrzynski 95. Yeah, that is about correct, Jarentila. But still, I thought that even if you are 10 kilos heavier than someone, but if you have not traveled outside of your own country, if you have not seen the level of world champions, it may be difficult for you to beat a world champion, even if he is 10 kg lighter than you. But that wasn't the case. M. Prostcon is saying, wow, 10 kg is too. But the weight cap was set to be 93 kilos. Bojidar agreed for that weight cap. It wasn't like he did not have the choice to gain weight. He could have also gone up to 90 kilos, but it is not possible for him. He's also really young and he does not have that big of a frame. Maybe in 10 years, Bojidar can also be a 93, 95 kg guy, but he's not right now. But he had the option. He could have force fed himself and he could have gotten to 95 kilos if he wanted. And he, as Adam mentioned, he weighed in at 91 kilos. So you cannot really say that he was 95 kilos. He weighed in at 91 kilos. The weight cap was 93. So you cannot either say he was 91 as well. You can say that he was 93 kilos and Bojidar was 85. Pradeep, the next Indian super heavyweight Indian champion. I don't know who that would be. Maybe Majahir would still take it. They were trying to get a match in Dubai. Adam Silver was trying to get a match between Majahir and Kyle Cummings. Those are two of the greatest current Indian arm wrestlers. 10 kg is too much, no matter. Like I said, 8 kg. 93 was the weight cap. Adam almost heavyweight, but it seems to hand. Yeah, his hand looked like almost, as I was saying, a mini Denis Siplankov, and he looks extremely fit, like that athletic build that you expect to see in a sportsman. Adam was significantly bigger looking. Man, my brother was saying that that guy looks over 100 kilos, but clearly he wasn't. He just perfectly built for arm wrestling. If you look much heavier than you actually are, it means it is good for you. You are having the perfect genetics for arm wrestling. Pradeep versus Levan 2023. One on the internet is Levan is too scared. Right, possible. All right. Adam was significantly bigger looking man when they stand it. Okay, I don't want to change the tone of this interview. Like whenever someone clicks on this interview, I think the most of the part of this live stream should be an interview, and it did well. Like all it is showing me 1500 views there, but when the stream ends, it may be somewhere like 1200 or over or 1000 it will show you. Hermes doesn't want to go much more than 130. For Levan he will at least 135. All right, I really apologize for the chats I've missed. You've really supported the channel. It is going good. 150 of you, if you have not subscribed, I really want to go to 20,000 subscribers. I want to cross that number before the end of this year. I think I can say that I have the main arm wrestling news channel. I cannot say I have the only news channel. I could have said it 1 year ago, but right now there are other news channels. But I think I have the main one. It is a kind of a representation in the news department of our sport. So when some outsider watches, that guy doesn't even have 20,000 subscribers and he's interviewing Devon, John Brezink, Matt Mask, everyone. Doesn't look good. At least get me to 20. 150 of you, I think if you subscribe, at least 10-15 should subscribe. So thank you, Pradeep. Good interview. Darko, thank you very much for your super chat and your comment. Paul Barrett, Pradeep, you continue to get better at what you do. Your interviews are very good. Hope you get to 100k subs really soon. I will, brother. I'm not planning on quitting on this anytime soon. Maybe at least a decade. You are my main arm wrestling news channel. Thank you very much, brother. You guys are awesome. Adam has dropped and still the number is not going below 150. I'm really amazed with this. I may go on for a couple of more minutes. I'll end it at 50 minutes. Is Hermes the favorite over who? My favorite? Yes, for sure. Hermes Gasparini is my favorite arm wrestler. Okay. It was right-handed against who? Prost. I forgot what we were talking about. Against Levan, yes. And imagine how good King of the Table, because right now East versus West has by far surpassed the level of King of the Table. It is not even close. But if King of the Table gets John Brezink versus Dennis, which is fixed, Hermes Gasparini versus Levan, if they somehow get Devon as well on that card, then that card will be one of the most premium cards ever, despite not having as many matches as East versus West. But if you got John Brezink, Denis Siplankov, Levan Saginashvili, Hermes Gasparini, and Devon on the card, it is amazing. It is amazing. So yeah, 4 people have subscribed. Thank you very much, guys. You guys are awesome. I think I'll be dropping a video as soon as this live stream ends, and the video is about what is next for Devon Larratt. Engin talked about Devon coming back to East versus West, and one more thing, Engin talked about Devon also saying that he has some other options as well. So he needs to decide whether Devon is going to defend his title or he's going to compete at King of the Table. I discussed all of those opportunities in this video, and I think it will be uploaded as soon as this interview ends. So please do check this video out as soon as this who had more views on their live. I think Aussie Armwrestler had more views on his live stream. Yeah, he had more views. He started slightly earlier and he had guests as well. So if two people are talking, I usually see that they get more viewers. Like I invited Michael Todd during the live stream and the number almost doubled in just 20 minutes. So thank you very much, guys. Please check that video out. It will be uploaded in just a couple of minutes. Wagner Bortolato, whoever. Thank you. You guys are amazing.